Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Welcome to another episode. Matt Phillips is joining me. Hey, Matt.
Hey guys.
And this episode is one that we've been talking about for a little while, not too long, but a little while. And it's a new concept.
Yeah,
We haven't done one like this before, and I thought it would be fun because Matt is the one that's been following the concert listings and stuff, and Matt and his old friend Chris and myself are going to see Geoff Tate and his band at the end of March in Portland, Maine, and we're looking forward to it.
yeah,
So, yeah, we've never seen Queensryche in any configuration before. Yeah, and so we, was thinking, and I can't remember who came up with this idea, but we thought, just for fun, we're getting ready for the concert. What if we came up with a set list of songs that we'd like to see Geoff do live? Probably would never ever happen. And all three of us, Chris is not sitting in on this episode, but he submitted the list. So we've got three possible, well, not possible, but three set lists that a standard size concert of songs associated with Geoff Tate. And yeah, Chris is a little camera shy, because he was briefly on your Kipling, the episode where you went to see Kipwinger. And meanwhile, was the Paul Stanley expression is like, some people are hams, I'm the whole pig. But it wouldn't do to have a YouTube channel if I was camera shy. So here we are. I have no idea what either of these other lists are. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Queensryche. It's I'm looking forward to this, Matt. I think this will be fun, and it's a city we've been to before. But what can you tell us about the venue that he's playing at?
Oh, the venue he's playing at is fairly new for the area. It's called Aura, Aura, and it's actually not too far, just down the street and off of a side street, I believe, from their main arena there. So we used to go see. We've seen Kiss on the Psycho
Circus tour, yeah. Bon Jovi, yeah.
and just up
Yeah,
the
it's called the Cross Insurance Center now, but when we would go there, it was called the Cumberland County Civic Center, and it's also where I took Marley to see Panic at the Disco a few years back, which is on an earlier episode, and it was called the Cross Insurance Arena or Center then. To me, it'll always be the Cumberland County Civic Center.
Yeah, essentially downtown. So when you think of old New England cities, like if you've seen Boston with all the brick and right down by the ocean, we're essentially downtown Maine. A lot of people don't actually realize that Portland on the West Coast was named after Portland here on the East Coast in Maine. So
And a lot of people watching this too, and this band included, we're going to be talking about, I'm thinking, Gateway Mastering, Bob Ludwig's facility,
yes.
is in Portland, Maine. So
Mhm.
I've been to Portland 3 times. I've never been to Gateway, but that might be fun, even to
Yeah.
find out where it was. But yeah, very narrow streets. It's got a lot of cool used record stores. I'm really looking forward to the trip.
Yeah. So what we've done, we've each come up with, we never talked to each other about this. The only restriction was really Tim's like, let's put it to 14 or 15 kind of song. I know I've added quite a few encores to, but just come up with the songs that you want to hear Geoff Tate perform live. Now I will say, at least I'm looking at Chris's list, my list. This is not the kind of greatest hit set that you're going to hear Queensryche perform. And Queensryche's digging really into so they're kind of like it's a bunch of stuff from Empire, a little from Operation Mindcrime, some of the really, really older stuff that fans haven't heard from a while now that they have Todd Latore on vocals. But mine especially is tailored for a Geoff Tate, kind of aura experience, really personal. So I have Chris's set list here. I'm going to go through it quickly. Again, he's comment, but I think I kind of know where he was going with this. So if you want me to start in with Chris's, and then
Yeah, go ahead. Let's find the songs that Chris would have liked to have heard or would like to hear.
I noticed he starts out. So Chris starts off his set list with "I Don't Believe in Love," of course, from Operation Mindcrime, that CD here from 1988. He wanted it to start off acoustically, which was kind of interesting. So
Cool.
I love acoustic. So a lot of Chris's favorite songs are he calls it, of course, the commercial part of Queensryche, your Empire and your Operation Mindcrime. The second song he's going to do is Another Rainy Night from Empire. And then he goes into a slightly older song, excuse me, Walk in the Shadows. Chris isn't as huge a fan of kind of screaming, really high pitched Geoff Tate stuff, but Walk in the Shadows is something the band, I think Geoff himself, performing quite often. Then he goes back into some of my really favorite kind of album cuts. His track 4 would be Best I Can, which is the first song from Empire from 1990. And then he goes into one that didn't make my list. I wish I could have fit it in, but I'll explain that later. Number 5 is also from this album, The Thin Line. Number 6, he does Road to Madness from The Warning. I was kind of interested that he included this one. Again, I haven't heard Chris talk a lot about early kind of more super metal Queensryche. This is when they kind of start finding their sound to me, but I'll get more into that later as well. And then he throws in an album that I think is really underrated, from 1994, Queensryche's Promised Land. And so his track 7, about in the middle of his set, is Bridge. So he does a few actually from this album. He does Bridge and then goes into Someone Else from Promised Land. Then he goes into No Sanctuary from
Wow.
The War. Kind of a deeper cut, you would say.
Yeah.
And then Chris back into his favorite albums by Queensryche. We're gonna get a whole bunch from Operation Mindcrime. So number 10, 11, he goes from Revolution Calling into Breaking the Silence, from 1988's Operation Mindcrime. Now here's the one that completely threw me. We both actually on our list, and I wasn't expecting this from Chris at all. His number 12, so we're coming close to the end of his set. From Tribe, 2003, Chris has got Losing Myself. So that was an interesting addition. So that's pretty cool. And then a song I actually really liked from this album, I think gets a lot of interesting opinions about this one. Operation Mindcrime 2, 2006. Chris wanted to hear I'm American, which was one of the singles on that album. I kind of like this album. I know it's not the original Operation Mindcrime, and it's more kind of Geoff spearheading, let's do a sequel, but more on that later. And the final 2 songs from Chris's set list, another kind of deeper cut from his favorite albums, Empire. He's going to end his set with One and Only from Empire, and his final song of the night, Eyes of a Stranger from Operation Mindcrime. So that was Chris's set list. Again, fairly heavy on the Empire, Operation Mindcrime. And I asked Chris, so what kind of encores would you like to hear? And he's like, yeah, basically anything from Mindcrime or Empire would be great. So that's where Chris was headed with his Queensryche set.
I got to say, just upon and knowing how we were approaching this, his is probably the most. There's probably most likely to hear more songs from Chris's set list than what you or I are going to come up with. But that's very cool. I will say that we have 3 songs in common. Chris
Okay. Wow.
Yep. So Matt wanted to do his last, which is great. So I'll do mine now. Mine's just weird. It would never happen. There are some singles, but there aren't hits per se. Let's get into it. I thought it would be fun to start off with a really fast song. So I'm going to start off with I'm American. I'm American. I really like Operation Mindcrime too. I know not all the band played on it and all this. I think it sounds great. I think it's a good follow-up. It sounds like it could have been written and recorded right at the same. They did a really good job recreating the sound, even though it's not Peter Collins producing it. The packaging is much the same, but yeah, I really like Operation Mindcrime. It's the It's the only song from Operation Mindcrime 2 I have on here, but I thought that would be a good opener. Next up is a song I absolutely love. It is so very Queensryche sounding. From the first Operation Mindcrime album that Geoff put out in 2015 called The Key, Reinventing the Future. This was a single and a video. It was co-written by, I think it was co-written by Dave Ellefson. Great song, feels very, very classic Queensryche. I think that would be a great way to keep that set going. Next up is another song that Chris and I have in common. The first song off Rage for Walk in the Shadows. Great song. Yeah. Next, an album that gets a lot of, I mean, you know, there's debate on, you know, how much of a Queensryche album it is. I happen to really love it. You know what I'm talking about. Frequency Unknown. Yeah. In the Name of God, which is another very Queensryche sounding song on this album. And I'm going to double down and play another song from Frequency Unknown right away. First track, You're So Damn Cold. 2 in a row from Frequency Unknown. I love it. Next up, I'm going to go to this album, which we talked about in our 1994 episode, Promised Land, with Damaged.
Oh,
really like that one. Next thing, it came out in 93, but on a soundtrack, the soundtrack of Last Action Hero, I've got it on this. It's Real World, which was a single, but it wasn't a very big hit, but I like it. I think it would be good live. Next up, an overlooked album. It didn't do very well. It was the first album they put out that didn't certify, but I love it. Loved it since it came out here in the Now Frontier. And the song You, really like that one. Then we're going to flip back to a song that actually was kind of a hit for them. It was a mainstream rock song, and the video got a lot of play, is I Am I from Promised Land. Then we're going to circle back to 1986, which, by the way, is that's as far back as I go. I Dream in Infrared, one of my favorite songs off of Rage for Order. I really love the acoustic version as well, which was released as a B-side of, I think, Jet City Woman. It's on that Sign of the Times thing too. And the other song that we have in common, Chris and I, the second track on Empire, Thin Line. Really like that one. Where are we? Okay, we're going to go back to, this time we're going to go back to 1990. It's not Empire. It's another soundtrack song from The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, starring Andrew Dice Clay, Last Time in Paris. Love that song. That's on here as well. And the first song I ever heard from Queensryche. Saw the video to this on Much Music. It got a fair bit of play because it's actually CanCon.
Yeah.
Lisa Dalbello's Gonna Get Close to You.
Ooh.
First song I ever heard by them. Really like it. And we're going to close off with, it was a mainstream rock hit. First track from Here in the Now Frontier, Sign of the Times. Now it's encore time. So it's encore time, so things loosen up considerably for the encore. We're going to go to 2007's Take Cover, which is a all covers album, and we're going to do their version of Queen's Innuendo. Ooh. Now here's where it just goes off the rails and gets just completely crazy. As it turns out, we come to learn, there is a local band in Portland that is a Dio cover band. And the singer from this Dio cover band sounds a lot like Ronnie James Dio. So to everyone's surprise, Geoff Tate invites the singer on stage, and they go into The Chase from Operation Mindcrime 2. And without any hesitation, stop on a dime, they go into Neon Nights by Black Sabbath, again from the Take Cover album. And for the final encore, a song that Geoff Tate participated in, Stars by Hearing Aid.
Wow.
With Geoff having met some fans before the show and asking them if some people could actually sing, and inviting a bunch of people on stage to sing the various parts, the Rob Halford part, the Kevin Dubrow part, Dave Menichetti, and of course Tate sings his own part, and the cover band singer sings Ronnie James Dio's parts, major long guitar solo. By the end of it, everybody sing "Pistos," and that, my friends, is the end of what would be a really fun night, but will never happen in a million
Yeah,
years. That's my set list.
that's awesome, Tim. I
I
love
told
it.
you it was. I told you it was out there.
We actually have a few similar songs in a different way. You're gonna laugh. So the way I set up my set list, I kind of I know he's playing at Aura. We're never gonna hear him actually do this, but let me just set the scene for you. So um, Aura's kind of like a fancy bar area, so you can imagine all the fans kind of mingling around, and then the lights kind of drop, and the band's not ready to come on yet. But I had my first thing was played over the PA. You're going to hear Neon Nights, but it's the Queensryche version, kind of getting everybody pumped. They're like, "Oh yeah," a lot
Yeah.
of them get on, would be really excited for that. So then when the band actually kicks in, we go in with Queen of the Reich. So, about as high as you can get for vocally and,
Yeah.
and I went out of the way and get all the metalheads excited. So that was my first track. And then my second track, we're going to keep the momentum going with Chemical Youth, We Are Rebellion from Rage for Order. Kind of satisfy the metalheads. Now it's going to take a bit of a left turn here. So I've kind of arranged my set list into themes. So these first four songs I call kind of like the killer openers, but this is where it kind of takes a little bit of a left turn. This is a song I've always told Tim that I really liked from their 2011 album. So my third track is actually going to be it's an up-tempo song. It's called "Get Started." So the theme of this is the theme for the night is they're just getting warmed up. I'm just getting started in this set list. So the actual content of the song is about someone in like a really long term, we've known each other for 20 years and you still look good to me, kind of, rekindle.
That's one of the songs I don't mind on that album.
It's not a fan favorite, but so after he kind of does Get Started, and then we're going to return to something that the metal are going to love, the title track from The Warning from 1984. So that kind of ends off my four songs of the killer openers. Now, The Warning is not just a song, but it's a little bit of be careful about what's coming up next, because now we're getting into what I call the alt rock era Queensryche set. And there's going to be three songs from you've got Here in the Frontier. Let me find that one here. Here in the Now Frontier. There we go. So track 5, Tim already mentioned this song. I really like You from Here in the Now Frontier from 1997. And then we're going to go into slowing it down just a little bit from Q2K. Now, I actually managed to fit a song from every single Queensryche album that Geoff appeared on. I didn't have any of the kind of his solo stuff or the Operation Mindcrime solo band, but I did manage to get some from Here in the Now Frontier, Q2K. So we go from You into Sacred Ground. So there's a little chance for Geoff to kind of feature his vocal. And one of the things I wanted to mention about this part of the set, I think kind of Queensryche's sort of like everybody talks about the vocals and the really cool guitar riffs, but I don't know if there's enough feature on when Queensryche for me when they came into their own is when you had Eddie Jackson on bass, Scott Rockenfield. Obviously, we're not going to see those guys live, but the kind of the rhythm section really started to stand out for me when Queensryche kind of got. But and then the last one in this alt rock set is going to be Losing Yourself from Tribe. So
Cool, you both picked that song.
yeah, and I think Chris picked it as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the first 7 songs. Then there's going to be a short break, and they kind of bring out the stools and the acoustic guitars. And of course, we're going to start off with from 1988. I want them to start off their acoustic set with I Don't Believe in Love acoustic. So I think that would be a really cool kind of,
You both got them doing this acoustically, you and
yeah,
Chris.
yeah. And
Wow.
then here's one. I'm not sure what everyone's going to think of this one. So I even managed to fit a song from the American Soldier album on here. So my track 9. So after I Don't Believe in Love, they're going to do Home Again, an acoustic version of this. Kind of is an acoustic song anyway. Now, originally, when this album came out in 2009, Geoff kind of did vocals with his daughter. I don't know if she's touring with him on the band, but some kind of female vocalist, probably, I mean, one of the the background singers or whatever. So they go from I Don't Believe in Love to Home Again. So we're really kind of chilling the set out. And then of course into Silent Lucidity, right? Acoustic song, that song from Empire from 1990. And then the last song, now this one was kind of funny. I was like, I wonder if they've ever actually done this song acoustically before. Trying to find my CD of the Warning. But for the very last song in their acoustic set, I'd like to hear them do Take Hold of the Flame acoustic.
Yeah.
I went and made a YouTube playlist of all my songs, and I actually found a version of Geoff Tate's kind of solo band from a ways back doing Take Hold of the Flame acoustically. Now we're going to have to do a short break again, so get rid of the stools and the acoustic. And we're going to go into, there's 2 more kind of sections I set. Now this time over the PA, we're going to have an instrumental play from, I got all my CDs mixed up, sorry, but The Promised Land. There we go. I want to hear the instrumental of 9:28 a.m., which kicks off this album, kind of playing over the PA to get people kind of excited. And it goes right into I Am I from Promised Land. So this is what I would call kind of the moody ending to my set. Goes into I Am I. And then from Frequency Unknown, I actually forgot to dig this one out. No, here it is. We're going to go into In the Hands of God from Frequency Unknown. You had mentioned this one on your set list.
Great song.
Yep. And then continuing with kind of the hand theme, I'd like to hear The Hands from Operation Mindcrime 2, which I think is a really Queensryche kind
Oh,
of
it's
classic.
fantastic. I think that's one of the first things that was leaked from that album. And I remember thinking, this is vintage Queensryche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then final, so I kind of leave them with a really popular song, Empire,
Yeah.
from the album. So that's going to be, leave them really excited and wanting more. Now, that's the end of my actual set proper. I did have 4 songs for encores. I don't know how realistic that is, but if I had to hear some encores, I want this to kind of be a little bit more chill and moody as well. He's going to open up with Real World from the Last Action Hero soundtrack, 1993. And then he's going to go into Promised Land. And then finishing it off with 2 of my favorite songs from Empire. I had to include Jet City Woman on here. I think that might be maybe my second favorite Queensryche song. And then back to Best I Can from Empire, the opening track on that album. So, and then as everybody's all kind of shuffling out, I wanted to hear the song One More Time from Promised Land playing over the PA. And that's my Geoff Tate set list.
That's really good. Like that's really good.
Really moody, and it's not really like a best of kind of hits set list, but I think there's in both of ours there's enough like interesting songs to keep the fans like us interested, but the metalheads aren't gonna
Well, here's the thing, and the fact that it's Geoff Tate billed as Geoff Tate.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that people that are going to the show will be diehards that will know the catalog inside out. So it shouldn't be a problem if he dips into some of these, more obscure things. Yeah, I mean, I had a hard time. I really wanted to do more from from Frequency Unknown, like Dare, like Running Backwards. I really like that album. I love hearing the Now Frontier, like Anytime, Anywhere, Saved, The Voice Inside. Some People Fly, Reach.
Is that
Yeah,
the one with Spool at the end of it? The song Spool? Or is that
yes,
yeah.
yeah. That would be a good one to walk out on too, like one more
Yep.
time. Cool. That so it'll be interesting now that we've done this, you know, however much goes by before we actually give our review episode. Um, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that he'll do songs that each of us have mentioned, just not all,
Yeah.
obviously. So interesting, interesting crossover, interesting different placements of some of the same songs, and yeah, looking forward to it. Like, yeah, I mean, Geoff Tate and or Queensrÿche, they played around here before, but it's been, you know, in because I mean they opened for back in 88, they opened for Metallica in Moncton, but I wasn't going to shows then. I wasn't a fan of either band then. And Queensrÿche, the Todd La Torre band, opened for Scorpions in 2015. I didn't go to that.
Kicking myself from yeah.
So so this is cool. And I do want to mention, I think I've mentioned this once before. The funny thing is that as we are going to see Geoff Tate March 30th in Portland, Maine, evidently Queensrÿche, the Todd
Right.
La Torre led band, is playing the same night in Portland, Oregon.
Oh,
How weird is that? So there you go. So guys, you know, if you have seen Geoff and or Queensrÿche live, what songs sounded really good? What songs have you never heard him do? You know, give us your opinions, your fantasy set list, as it were. This has been a lot of fun. I think we should probably do this every time we're looking forward to going to a gig. I think we should do something like this. This could be the start of something. So
go
yeah,
check out Strike. But not just the old catalog. Go check out some of those I call the alt rock era of Queensrÿche too.
yeah. You know what? You mentioned Q2K. I thought if you know taking song and maybe putting in the right side of my mind. I really like that one. But yeah, a lot of good stuff. Yeah, it didn't. You know, the last really big Queensrÿche album was Promised Land. It didn't end there for good music. Keep you know
No.
explore the catalog. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching this episode of Tim's Vinyl Confessions.